We'll bring it in with good old Brian Road Dog Armstrong. The guy who would use the catchphrase, roll this dog a bone. Once even smoked up with Ben Stiller backstage at Raw. Which is just gotta be an awkward... He's gotta be like a super paranoid smoker, right? Like just annoying to be around.
I feel like if you ever watch the outtakes from Meet the Parents, that's probably just him stoned, just riffing.
Yeah. I mean, we know Ben Stiller's a smoker. I mean, Tropic Thunder. He had to have been stoned the entire time making that shit show. Love that.
At least he was stoned when he signed up for it. Hello, come on.
Yeah.
Didn't help Robert Downey Jr.
Well, he was still Iron Man. I'm surprised.
Yeah, but that came after. He's lucky he got it after this one. I think that was after this. I'm pretty sure that was after Tropic Thunder. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was after Tropic Thunder.
Okay.
But yes, back on the track of Road Dogg, rumors indicate that he would sometimes spend all day smoking marijuana with fans before wrestling that night, which, as a performer, that is your goddamn solemn duty and obligation, speaking from experience.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And you know they're definitely going to buy your merch afterwards. So.
You smoke their weed,
no.
sell them your stuff. And then buy some for them.
Exactly. And Paystee, before we go any farther, I don't remember if we stated it when we were talking because we were rambling. This is not in an actual 1 to 10 order or nothing.
It's a stoner
we just put these
list.
together. Yeah, exactly. We just threw them together and said if there's going to be an order, we just put it in alphabetical order. Screw it. Just random. No thought involved. We like no thought involved.
Yes, indeed.
Somebody who thought a lot, though, and thought a lot of the herb was Bobby Heenan. Some folks that may surprise him, but Jim Ross has said of Heenan, he loved smoking weed. It made him calm down because he got a little high-strung. Bobby would get offended by the booking. We're having to make sense out of Duke the Dumpster Drosy or the Repo Man or whatever they're in the character. Not the human being playing the role, the goddamn character. He'd get frustrated. We used to have a code word when we smoked pot. Chocolate cake. He'd say, hey, redneck, your wife making that chocolate cake? So I knew what he wanted. Let's go for a ride. Need to calm down and chill.
You don't think Vince would like, did you say chocolate?
Did you
say chocolate?
Chocolate. And there's actually another good story that, let me see. I think it either got cut off or, yeah, it did get cut off. So there's another good story with Bobby Heenan before we go on. This is a story from Bruce Pritchard. He's told on his podcast. He told the story that he told Bobby Heenan that when flying on an airplane on the airlines, hide the weed in your socks. They never look there. Now, remember, folks, this is like back in the 80s. This isn't nowadays. I don't recommend that nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recommend that nowadays. You're going to get busted.
Now, yeah.
But he said, hide the weed in your sock when you're flying. They never look there. Well, one day Bruce got an angry phone call from Bobby. He was in jail. And Bobby told him he got arrested for weed at the airport, and he blamed Bruce Pritchard. He was yelling, furious at Bruce when he said, they found the weed. What the fuck? They found it in my suitcase. I had hid it in my socks before I packed them into the suitcase, and they still found it, you fucker. I love that story. That makes me giggle.
God, he'd have been a good one to smoke with.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, man.
Such a smart mind and a quick wit.
Yes.
He'd have you rolling.
My polar opposite.
He'd have you rolling and rolling.
Yeah. Rolling while rolling. Make the job harder.
Exactly.
Speaking of making the job harder, our next occupant in the Golden Stoners list is Jake Hager, formerly known as Jack Swagger. And while in WWE, he was no stranger to start and stop pushes. But that seemed to be in the past once the American Mat Wrestler was paired up with Zeb Coulter. In a strong run as the Real Americans, Jack saw victories over former WWE champions, including Daniel Bryan. Of course, that match unfortunately spelled the beginning of the end for Swagger, as the following night he was pulled over and charged with a DUI and possession of the Devil's Lettuce. He wasn't suspended for the incident and still went on to face Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania that year. In fact, the only negative to the story was Swagger didn't get an entrance at Mania, never again received a top-tier push, and would eventually be released from the company.
I can just see the shirts now. Weed the people.
Yes. Yes. I'm just going to take that and make that my own. It's parody. It falls under copyright.
Exactly.
Yes.
We dig it.
Yes.
And somebody who doesn't worry about copyright infringement is Conan.
No, he jacked his name from the Barbarian.
Right? K-Dog, anybody who listens to his podcast might know he frequently travels to Iran. But that's only because Iran is his code for getting high.
It is not a good term. You're still going to have the government looking at your text messages.
There you go.
This guy goes to Iran a lot.
Well, he got that term from the Iron Sheik, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. Anytime K-Dog mentions on his podcast that he's traveling to Iran, and he does very often, he means that he's getting high, similar to JR's eating chocolate cake, as we talked about earlier. And he very much does, and he's been very open about his cannabis use, and has even mentioned that that's one of the reasons he likes to spend so much time down in Mexico, is that they, it's mostly legalized there, and he likes to stay around where it's legalized.
It's all swag. Bricky swag.
It's swag. It's the swaggiest.
This one won't surprise anybody, Fat Mack.
I don't think so.
It's not a riddle, but it's Matt Riddle. The 2016 Rookie of the Year was forced to choose between a promising MMA career and a marijuana habit in 2013. Twice.
Which one did he pick?
I wonder why he's in WWE. Twice, Riddle had a UFC victory overturned after a drug test revealed marijuana in his system. He was released after his second failure.
Yeah, that's a bro who knows how to roll the smoke, yo.
It sucks when they can overturn it like they can for steroids for pot. It's not the same thing. If anything, it should make him lose fights more.
Right? Well, just ask old Michael Phelps. It's like, it's more of a detriment than anything, but it's on the list. Somebody who else is on many lists is Sabu, the genocidal, homicidal, suicidal, extreme one, is the one who, and this might surprise some of you, first introduced the man on our original list, Rob Van Dam, to marijuana. If you got him started, you know you're smoking good shit.
Oh, yeah.
He was actually arrested alongside RVD for marijuana possession, which was the reason for RVD losing his WWE championship. At the time, WWE was doing nothing with Sabu, so it really didn't affect him.
It probably affected RVD more because he was with Sabu, though, because they weren't doing business with him. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
And, of course, you can't have Sabu without the Iron Sheik, am I right?
Okay.
Aside from killing kayfabe when he, as a heel, got arrested for smoking weed with babyface Jim Duggan, Sheik also once lit a joint on an airplane, joining the Mile High Club. This was back when smoking was allowed on planes, but not marijuana. When the stewardess informed the former Olympic Indian that he couldn't smoke on that plane, he insisted he was smoking Iranian tobacco. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I know it was just an accident and just a slip of the tongue, but you did mean former Olympic Iranian and not Indian. We understand that we know the difference between the Middle Eastern people, and we're not lumping them all together.
No.
And that's where Conan got the term. Conan was on that flight, and that's where he got the term going to Iran. He used that every time after that. Oh, Sheiky baby. More well known for his cocaine use, but that's another story. Matt Sydal, Paystee. We all love Matt Sydal. Sydal is definitely a high flyer, pun intended. Unfortunately, he flew into Japan with some weed and got himself arrested. As a matter of fact, he spent almost 3 months in a Japanese prison because of it. They're strict on their stuff over there, folks.
It's definitely common knowledge now. You buy your weed once you're in Japan.
Yeah, you don't take it with. Also, he was released in 2014 from WWE for multiple wellness policy violations, every one of them testing positive for marijuana. If you've ever watched Matt Sydal or Evan Bourne as he was in the WWE,
yes,
you know he isn't taking the
Bourne.
roids. Yeah, he isn't taking the steroids. It was marijuana every time.
Yeah. He's definitely not a steroid guy.
You mind if I take the next one, Paystee?
You
because
can.
I have a strong connection with old Sir Waltman.
Yeah, a bunch of yeast infections, right?
Exactly, we share that.
Yeah.
Sean
Go
Waltman,
boys.
or X-Pac, Six-Pac, the Kid, Lightning Kid, 123 Kid, whatever you want to call him. He has been very open about his marijuana habit for years and has gotten him in trouble from time to time, including a story we touched on a while back in our news and notes where he got picked and arrested at the airport by customs on his way to Europe for marijuana capsules in his possession. Now, at the time, actually, customs officials thought that it was meth and later dropped all the charges, including the admitted marijuana he was attempting to bring overseas, which is a felony. There you go. This is where that part got hit on the last one, so you can just jump to the next guy. Good editing. Good editing over here, Fat Mack. Way to go, buddy. That's just awesome.
Woo! And coming in at the end, maybe not the least important, though. This one might blow your mind just a little bit. It did what I learned about it.
Woo.
Darren Young. In an interview recently with Ringside News, Darren Young spoke about his own marijuana use while in WWE, stating that he used CBD to cope with in-ring injuries and often turned to Mary Jane while enduring long road trips with the likes of Titus O'Neil, Mark Henry, and Sheamus. It's got to be a fart-ridden car ride. I just assume Mark Henry and Sheamus are some gassy motherfuckers, and Titus O'Neil's got to be annoying.
That definitely doesn't seem like, it doesn't seem like 3 people I want to hang out with on a long road trip, but I don't know.
With the weed, it's probably a little bit funner, though.
Has to help.
But that's not all, Fat Mack, because in the same interview, Young went on to speculate that 90% of the current WWE locker room enjoyed sucking the sour spinach, and the number included CBD use to be almost a totality. So either you're getting high on your own supply or you're getting by on what others are getting high on.
That doesn't horribly surprise me. And of course, CBD is legal, doesn't have any tetrahydrocannabinol in it, so it won't come up on a drug test. So that's really understandable that almost everybody uses that. I admittedly use that. I got CBD oil at my house. I take drops every night when I take my other pills. So I don't know.
Swears up and down if he blazes up and then uses some CBD oil, it'll keep his high riding for hours longer than it normally would.
I don't know that the CBD oil actually does anything for me. I got it for free. I use it because it's supposed to have health, stuff.
Right.
Whatever. It was free. I've been using it.
You
I haven't
feel
noticed
like a
any
rebel
different.
With your weed-like product.
Well, I like having something that has the health benefits but not the negativity. So that's kind of cool. Oh, so that's our list, folks. Tell us what you think. Tell us who we missed. We knocked out the 10 that we talked about last time, 3 years ago, Paystee. Holy buckets.
Yes, indeed. We're going to have to make sure to bring this one back going forward because this is a fun one.
It's fun. It gets more and more difficult, though, because, first of all, almost as Darren Young said, pretty much all of them smoke weed, so it's like you almost just got to find good weed stories to tell. Because there's no longer any. Well, there was rarely any that really had that in their